Yesterday, SB 397 passed in the Senate. It's a bill that prohibits ICE agents from making arrests without warrants in places like churches, hospitals, and schools.
We should not be here today. We should not have a bill we have to run in state government to protect us from the federal government.
ICE agents have been operating like vigilantes in Connecticut and elsewhere.
It prevents ICE agents from wearing masks when dealing with the public, and it allows us to sue federal officers for civil rights violations in state court. Let's see what my opponent had to say.
The state governments do not have the authority to tell federal government what to do.
Not exactly true. States absolutely can regulate conduct within their own borders.
This is a bill dictating policy and restrictions and imposing further liability on our local police and our troopers.
Notice what he's doing? He's not defending ICE's behavior at all. He's changing the subject to local police.
And now we're passing a law that is only truly going to apply at the end of the day legally to them, putting further liability on them, stripping them of more immunities.
Again, this bill is about ICE, but let's follow his reframe here for a second. No law enforcement, state or federal, should be above the law, right?
On them, stripping them of more immunities, putting more provisions that can get them arrested for misdemeanors.
Arrested for doing what? If an officer follows the law, no issue. If they don't, consequences should exist. That's not radical.
And at the end of the day, all this boils down to is a bill that once again attacks our police and attacks our state troopers.
Does requiring a doctor to follow the rules attack doctors? Does requiring lawyers to follow ethics rules attack lawyers?
We should all be thanking them as opposed to imposing policy upon them to make their jobs more difficult to protect us.
We should be thanking the police officers that keep us safe without breaking the law. And we should also impose policies that create consequences if they don't. But let's bring this back to what this bill's intent actually is. I think every Connecticut resident, regardless of immigration status, ought to be able to go wherever they want, but especially to church, to school, and to the hospital. But Steve doesn't want to have that conversation because he knows more often than not, ICE is rounding up absolutely innocent people, like what we saw with Rehan in Cheshire last week. So he'd rather reframe this bill as an attack on local police, which is still a bad faith argument, because no law enforcement officer should be above the law. After all, if you're breaking the law to uphold the law, you're not doing it right.